Hey, you've tuned in to Cisco Unplugged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cisco Unplugged. I'm Dan Clemmer, and I am back. And I wanted to thank Karam for hosting the last several, it feels like, episodes here of Unplugged. And as I've been traveling and doing other things, so thank you very much, Karam, and enjoyed watching those episodes after the fact. But thank you, everyone, also for tuning in here on episode 37 here. This week, we are going to be discussing unifying networks, Cisco On-Prem Wireless meets Meraki Cloud Management with Paul Fidler from the Meraki Minute. So I would like to welcome Paul Fidler from London, England in the United Kingdom to our show. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Hi, thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me. Really good, thanks.
Yeah, great to have you. Thank you very much. So before we get started, Paul, just wanted to handle a couple things here. As always, we do take questions live via Slido. So if you have any questions or feedback on today's show, you can submit those questions via Slido, like usual. If you go to the URL posted below the video here on YouTube, it's you can submit your questions, and if we have time, we will take those questions live here on the show. We do also have people standing by answering questions too, if we get a lot. But as usual, also the show is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@getunplugged. And you can also look at upcoming episodes, what we got coming on the docket here at cs.co/getunplugged. So I guess with that, let's get on with the show and get unplugged. Paul, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good. So I wanted to, I guess, just talk a little bit about the Meraki Minute and what it is, a YouTube channel, and kind of the history there. So, and what I guess led up to this episode. So I guess I'll start with, could you tell us a little bit about the Meraki Minute?
So the channel was started around 5 years ago,
Okay.
and there has never really been a plan for it. The growth has been completely organic,
Yeah.
and it literally started with just really simple, snappy videos on how to achieve something. Because as we all know, you go to various documentation websites and they're pretty dry, and they assume an awful lot of prior knowledge about something. But if, like me, as a new network engineer, coming into this, having the context of being able to achieve a single objective, rather than having to look through reams and reams of documentation, has just been really helpful.
Yeah. Agreed. So 5 years ago, yeah, that's great. I mean, I look at your content, I look at your followers. It's impressive what you've done, and I like the short format. We've been releasing some shorter videos here and there, but really have been also doing and sticking to the every other week format here of a live show. But I think there's a lot of great content on the Meraki Minute. And so do you want to, I mean, talk a little bit about how we came to, I guess, to this episode, how we came to meet? I remember getting a message one day from you here.
So for those that don't know, Cisco and Meraki have been coming together for the last probably actually closer to 2.5 years.
Yeah.
When we first launched the MS390, this was the first Cisco silicon product that Meraki had created, and it started a journey into Catalyst being available for both Meraki Persona and Cisco Personas.
Yeah.
The great things about this is that in the past, you had to choose. Do you want to do the Cisco DNA Center, Catalyst Center route to management? But if you had those switches, you couldn't go to Meraki. But now we've got this ability to switch over. But obviously, I've spent 5 years at Meraki learning about Meraki products and switches. Didn't know the first thing about Catalyst because I never had to. And
Mhm.
it's I felt a little bit sorry for my Cisco brethren because they were selling both Catalyst and Meraki. Um, so we've obviously come together from a strategy perspective, but there's so much prior knowledge out there with guys like you that have, 20 odd years of Catalyst kind of knowledge. And for me, some of the best things about the Meraki Minute is that we've started to see a lot more product streams coming from outside of Meraki, saying, "Oh,
Sure.
we can integrate with ICE, we can integrate with Duo, with Thousand Eyes, and everything else." So reaching out to you was just an obvious route.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And so we had put together, like I had mentioned earlier, some shorter videos. And by we, I mean specifically the one I'm referring to was from Al Dumdai on our team. And he had put together actually two short videos. One, the first being how to onboard Catalyst 9800 wireless LAN controller into Meraki dashboard for cloud monitoring. And then the second one that came shortly thereafter was around really, okay, now we've done it. Now what? What, what can we see? What can we do in there? And put those up and saw some great interest and great traction with those videos. And I think you had reached out too. And at the time, admittedly, I wasn't aware of the Meraki Minute. So it was great to learn about this great channel out there. And again, so we at Unplugged here, we focus a lot on all things wireless and the technology and things like that. Of course, a lot of us are here at Cisco, but as a whole, we talk a lot all things wireless. And the Meraki Minute focuses not only on that, right, but also on all things technology Meraki related, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. One thing to note is that there's a ton of great content out there. There's a
Yeah,
ton of content which is entertaining. I
yeah,
Many of us have probably watched Linus Tech Tips, and it's
yeah,
incredibly entertaining stuff. But there's also a need for learning as well.
yes,
And I know desperately that some of my videos can be quite dry. But the whole point of them is that they are created by engineers for engineers. So
yes.
we don't do fluff. We don't do superlatives. We just
Yep.
this is our objective. This is why we're going to do it, and this is what it's going to give you.
That's great. Yeah, so and then we had originally this was months ago now, but we had talked and kind of cross-linked some of our videos here and just shared some interest and content there, and then discussed having this live show where we kind of do a cross collab. And so for those of us, our viewers, I guess welcome to the Meraki Minute viewers out there. Thanks for tuning in here, and I would encourage you to subscribe to both of these great channels, Unplugged and the Meraki Minute here. Just so you are notified when we do post more great content, like I always tell people. So, speaking of content, Paul, where do you get your content? I'm assuming it's not all you doing every video. Is that true, or?
No,
You're
that's
a busy
definitely
guy.
not. No. One of the reasons that subscribing is so important is
Mhm.
that I we don't have a schedule for publishing stuff.
Sure.
I I'm an incredibly curious person and
Yes.
sometimes stumble across new capabilities in dashboard and think, oh, that'd be super useful. I'll go and learn about that,
Yep.
integrate it into my own network and create video. And my fellow system engineers do exactly the same thing.
Sure.
A customer will go, how do I do this? And it's just easier just to create a video, send them the video. So if you're going to do that, why not just host it in a central place? So as I mentioned, the content generation itself is done primarily by system engineers. But what has also happened now, which is great, is that we've got product management creating content for us as well.
Nice.
Obviously, they've got very traditional routes into posting content, but when I met Meraki content team, the thing that they liked most about the channel was that it was off brand. We don't go out there and create really, really flashy videos.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to. This is literally getting the job done. So the fact that it's off brand allows us to be really, really reactive into the needs of our customers. And I know that sounds really cliched, but
Mhm.
if I go on to community.meraki.com, see that people are struggling with a particular concept,
Yeah.
it means that we can get something created normally the same day, which is just absolutely brilliant. It also means that because I think I'm doing my colleagues a bit of a disservice, but I believe that sales have much more contact with customers and also how they
Yeah.
implement our technology compared to what product do. So it allows us to create content which is just that little bit more aligned with implementation than what product might do. I mean, there
Yeah.
is product makes some absolutely brilliant videos, especially around training. But I think there's a very tactical nature in the videos that we create.
Yeah, one thing that you said there that really resonated with me was that, you're talking about looking at where people are struggling, customers are struggling, delivering content along those lines. And we're very much similar. And that's what really led us to this episode too. I think there's a lot of synergies here and overlap between these channels. But you know, it's it's great because I just wanted to highlight something as well here too. We just did an episode 2 weeks, or I'm sorry, 2 episodes back on back to school best practices for our customers. And that really came about an idea from us, just watching and seeing some of our customers and conversations they're having, things along the lines. Wouldn't it be great to have that? And that's really, we put together that whole series based on that, and it's continued to grow. And it used to be an internal Cisco thing, and we then expanded it the last several years now to external for customers to really see how things are going. So I guess and get recommendations around code, software, best practices before the students come back to school. So I think where I'm going with this is, we have Slido open now. We have ways to get a hold of us here at Unplugged. If you email us at getunplugged at cisco.com, you can give us feedback for ideas. I don't know, how do people get a hold of you, Paul, if they have ideas or thoughts for Meraki Minute?
So I've only recently started looking into how people fall upon the channel.
Sure.
And I was under the assumption that people would click on a link on LinkedIn or on Community and
Sure.
come directly to the channel, but that is so blatantly untrue. The primary way that people get to the channel is search terms on YouTube.
Yes.
So I've actually started to look at how people get to the videos and looking at that.
Yes.
But the other way is through your SE. Many of you
Sure.
probably know which SE it is that you deal with.
Yes.
And also, I lurk on community.meraki.com as well. My background is actually not network engineering. I actually come from a enterprise architecture background based on mobile device management.
Hmm.
And I know the struggle that people have, so I create content based around that. But I've started lurking in more of the darker nooks and crannies of community.meraki, just to see the problems that people are actually having. So when I create content, it tends to be quite proactive. I see where people are struggling, but my colleagues create stuff more based around Paul, how do I do this? So
Yeah.
we'll create something together and we'll get it uploaded quickly. So yeah, just reach out to your SE, reach out to just leave a comment. I'm normally relatively good at picking up comments on YouTube, but if there are things that you want to see, let us know. But the
Definitely.
surprising thing, Dan, is I look at our highest watched videos, and it's
Mhm.
really simple things like
Yes.
how do I add a device to the Meraki dashboard?
Yes.
Uh, how do I comparing MR access points together? So it's not we make assumptions that people
Yes.
need to understand the complex things, but it's actually not. If you're new
Yeah.
to Meraki, it's the really simple. How do I add a license to my dashboard? Do you want to
Yeah.
sit and read tons of documentation or just watch a 30-second video?
Yeah. That's a great reminder. I'm a little sad that my outstanding LinkedIn posts aren't what's drawing everyone in, but
Yeah, exactly.
it is
Yeah.
it is a great reminder, and I look at that as well, all kidding aside, and it's just interesting when you see, and it's not just, searches on YouTube, to your point too, is a lot of them are like Google searches and
Yeah.
search across the internet and on search engines too, and for configurations and things along those lines. And yeah, that's where we're seeing a lot of people come in and pulling, people into the channel. And again, yeah, then it's about trying to get them to, like you said, subscribe so they are notified. Like we just, like I mentioned earlier, we've gone kind of a live format where we do every other week and do live content, but have of late been posting some more shorts, like we talked about with the Meraki. But this week we posted something on outdoor wireless that Ian Prosick, one of our, he's like a show producer behind the scenes, does a ton for the show. He just posted a great video that talks about weatherproofing and getting your outdoor access points ready to be deployed. That was a shorter video, much shorter than our typical live. So, but it's been fun. So, Paul, I know we talked a little bit earlier about Cisco bringing together our cloud and on-prem networking solutions, and I know we started with like the access points back in, I think it was 2 years ago, roughly, where we had some combined AP hardware, and then the BE engineering teams coming together. And yeah, like you mentioned, we've Cisco acquired Meraki some time ago, but had somewhat operated them, separately, and more recently now are bringing things together, really the best of both worlds together, which is really super exciting for us. So, yeah, I guess I think when we talked a couple times here over the last few months here, you had said something really good. I think you alluded to it earlier. I really loved it. Was this is bringing flexibility to our customers, and as we continue to go down this road from unifying standpoint here for our networking portfolio, yeah, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it takes a lot of the choice away from, procurement to more deployment, right? I think that was kind of what you said, and I loved your quote on that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You're not forced into to choosing a particular architecture. You can start down the Catalyst Center route if you've got existing infrastructure already, and migrate what you have into Meraki Cloud if you wish. One of the great things about unifying the hardware is that we're now going to we're now going to try to reach to having commonality with regards to functionality on Catalyst versus Meraki personas. And that's where we really, really need to get to. But there's always going to be reasons that you might want to have a hybrid model. So again, in the past, you would have Catalyst or you would have Meraki, but now you've got this world of still being able to manage with Catalyst Center, but monitor on the Meraki side. And this is great, especially for companies who tend to acquire and divest companies all of the time. It allows them to shift their infrastructure so that when a company leaves, they can take their infrastructure with them, but not have the messiness of having to completely remove it from a dashboard and then
Yeah.
add it somewhere else. And if cloud management doesn't work for you, you can always move back. I mean, we'd prefer you not to, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's also value that you get from having this in the cloud as well. I cover territories like Sweden, where you can't just hop into a car and go to a customer's premises, because
Mhm.
that's going to take you 24 hours to drive across the tundra of northern Sweden. So
Sure.
being able to do this on your iPhone is just astounding. It really is.
Yeah. I think it's really exciting, for sure. As we we started with some of the access points, like we mentioned, switching to your point, some of the switching before, and, more switching coming down the road here. But, also I think some of the newer wireless LAN controllers as well, with the intent to allow, a migration in the future to the cloud management in the dashboard as well, is super exciting. So, and then, with upcoming here inside of Cisco, our sales teams coming together, there's a lot of excitement here for sure on the horizon with this.
There is. And one of the great things about this is that we have, within Meraki, we've got an amazing culture.
Mhm.
And obviously, with the bringing together of sales teams, we've got this wealth of knowledge on the Cisco side that can only benefit the Meraki guys. And the Meraki guys have got experience of deploying this quickly. There's so much synergy between the two. I'm looking forward to learning more about the Cisco side of the house.
Yeah. Well, I don't see any other questions at this point. If you have any questions, you can feel free to submit them. But anything else you'd like to, I guess, cover, discuss, about Meraki Minute, about Unplugged, anything, Paul?
So you raised a good point earlier. Or in fact, actually, I think you didn't raise the point, but it just triggered something in my mind.
Sure.
One of the great things about what we both do is we talk about the hows and the whys and the wheres, and not the whats. And I think that's really, really important. So for example, Wi-Fi 6, you can have channels 80 meg big or whatever.
Mm.
And that's fine. And the documentation will tell you how to do that. But the
Sure.
important thing is how you do that, but also why it's important. How is this going to affect you as an end user?
Mhm.
And which is why I love what we both do, because it gives us the freedom to have that conversation as to go, this is why it's important to you.
Agreed. Yeah. I think it's great too. I look forward to, more content on the Meraki Minute. Love those short videos. Some more shorter videos potentially also on Unplugged here, like we just released this week on outdoor weatherproofing for outdoor wireless. And it's, there's just such a wealth of knowledge out there on YouTube. It's just recently I had an issue with my ice maker on my fridge, and I'm not a refrigerator repair person by any stretch of the imagination, but I was able to do that by watching a video on YouTube to do that. So, these videos are no different. It's just a different maybe audience, different technology, but it's the new way to learn to do things, and love producing great content for the audience. So,
Yeah, me too.
yeah. So anything else you want to cover, Paul? Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up.
No, I think this has been a great opportunity. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing more and more things together.
Yeah.
I think that instead of having all of these silos, which Cisco are possibly known for,
Yeah.
there's going to be so much more horizontal stuff now, bringing all of this stuff together. And it just releases all of the value that many customers have already got with the infrastructure that they've already acquired. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the future. I really am.
Yeah, likewise. So how can people find Meraki Minute on YouTube?
So you can literally just Google Meraki Minutes and it'll be the first thing that comes up. But
Awesome.
youtube.com/@ Meraki Minutes.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Paul. It's been great meeting you some time ago. Great having you here on episode 37. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And please, like we mentioned earlier, subscribe to Meraki Minute. They're a great channel, great content. Subscribe to our channel, Unplugged. You'll get notified when we do go live and post more of this great content, like we've teased a little bit or discussed here today. You can always reach out to us, like Paul had mentioned, via your Cisco account team, your local SE or AM, and they know how to get a hold of us. You can, at Unplugged, you can email us here at getunplugged@cisco.com. Find us on Twitter at Unplugged 802.11 or 802.11, I should say, and then on Threads also at Unplugged Connectivity. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate your time. And until next time, stay connected and unplugged.